manager. Always believe that, how'd I get here? Because I think I said that all of my life in sales. I could have a terrible month. And I go, how'd I get here? I had so much in my pipeline. What the heck happened? And the next month I could knock it out of the park. And I'd still ask myself, how'd I get there? I mean, how did that account come? Where'd that thing come from? So that's a question. I think if you're like myself and always wanted that adrenaline rush of closing a sale, which, by the way, to me it is an adrenaline rush and always has been, when I can help somebody take their business to another level through using something I can help them with. It was always wonderful when you created that new relationship and help somebody do things more efficiently, do things better, and doing things more effective. Because that's really what sales is about, isn't it? It's not about selling somebody something they don't need, that used car guy. It's really, if you're truly in sales for the right reasons, you're trying to help people do things more effectively and more efficiently and more cost effective. And sometimes that means using your product, and sometimes that means no, don't use your product. And I think that's where the problem comes in with a lot of salespeople, is they never want to say, don't use my product. What you're doing, you should be doing it this way. And that makes you a much more effective salesperson. Stop wasting time with the wrong people. And it's also one of the topics I want to talk about today, and that is objections. Love objections. I think so many books have been written on objections and how to overcome them. And so many people have gotten up on stage and teach people how to overcome objections. And oh my God, how many books were written on the 125 objections and how to overcome each one of them. One of it is the feel, place, sound system. I don't know. I know how you feel. It sounds to me like. Anyways, I really want to talk about objections from a different point of view. To me, we looked at objections as it's a negative thing. And maybe so that word is wrong. It's an object in your way. And it really isn't. Truthfully, when someone's giving you an objection, they're giving you more information, right? If they didn't want to do business with you, they'd say, go away. Don't talk to me anymore. Or they would ghost you, which a lot of people are doing now. There's a reason for that. And the reason is because they don't want to get in the fight you want to get in, right? They've dealt with salespeople. And what's the thing when you get an objection? What's the number one thing you're supposed to do? Overcome that objection. I've been in sales all my life, and you give me an objection, I can basically overcome every one of those things. I know my price is too high in relationship to what? I know we're not a local company, but in today's global world, what does local really mean? Come on, throw me another objection. I'll overcome every one of those suckers. But even if I get the sale, it's no fun for me. It's no fun for the prospect. And we get done, we wonder if we really helped each other. But an objection is more information and is not something for you to overcome, because you can't overcome it. The only real person that can overcome the objection is the person that gave it to you. So instead of you trying to overcome the objection, your goal would be get them to overcome it. If they want to overcome the objection, possibly they gave the objection to you because they don't like you, or possibly they gave you the objection because they don't want to do business with you. And really, it's a simple question of that objection you gave me sounds like maybe we're not the right fit and there's no reason to move forward. Is that the case? Right? Because really all you're looking for is the truth. And so if you don't give me the opportunity to tell you the truth by making an open conversation, and you want to fight me, then you're never going to hear the truth out of me. And if you never hear the truth out of me, you're not going to get rapport with me. And if you don't get rapport with me, you're never going to do business with me. So I'd much rather accept the objection, accept the no, and maybe someday in the future we'll do business. Maybe we can start building on the honest relationship we just started. So an objection is something like your price is too high, or perhaps where you're not a local company, you haven't been in business long enough. The price is too high is such an easy one, but maybe I have never heard of your company before. And then we should be asking them, you've had to have asked me that for a reason. Is it because the longevity is the most important thing to you? Is that what you're looking for? Really, because the actual I've never heard of you before, or I don't know your name, your company name, isn't the real objection. The real objection might be, I'm scared of doing business with someone I never heard of before. A real objection might be, I did business with someone I didn't know before, and all of a sudden they were gone and they took my money and they never did my roof, right? Or they never finished the project. Happened a lot in software a long time ago. So the key is not to overcome the objection. I want you to start thinking of understand the objection. What do they really mean by that? And don't be invasive with that. It's very simple when someone says, I've never heard of your company before. You got to sit back and say, I totally understand. So I get the feeling that the number one most important thing to you is longevity or history of a company and how they can support you in the future and how long will they be in business. Does that sound like what you're really concerned about? And if they say yes, then you can sit there and say, great, I don't know that I can solve this problem. I don't know that I can prove to you that we'll be in a year in business next year. I can't prove that you'll be in business next year. But let's take a look at what you need to feel confident enough that we can help you, because that's the real thing. So could we look at that first? And let's also talk about some companies that have been in business a long time that don't take care of you. See, there's a big difference than someone trying to try that, those tricks of how to overcome an objection and all that garbage. Stop it. Just if you're in sales, I mean, a lot of people say, I don't want to be called a salesperson because of that slime ball mentality. So what I want you to start doing is don't overcome objections. Try to understand the objection. Try to understand where people are coming from, what they really mean by the objection. The objection might be your price is too high. It might be, I get the feeling that my price is too high, but is it the price is too high for what you're trying to do at this moment? You're not willing to spend that at this moment. It's higher than you thought it would be. And all of those are fine and probably a reason for not to move forward, but just trying to understand what you mean by too high. See, then I can understand what's really going on as opposed to, oh, let me show you some more value when it might have nothing to do with value. In fact, they might already believe in your product, but they didn't have $10,000 to spend. They only had $5,000 budget for it. So if I understood that, hey, we only have $5,000 budgeted for it, we can't afford 10 grand. If you understood that, as opposed to try to create more value for your stuff, you might be able to sit there and say, maybe there's a way we can do a payment option or spread this out over a year so that it's a $5,000 hit up front and then won't be another $5,000 hit to the end of next year. There's so many things you can do when you understand the person's not objection, negative word, when you understand what the person is telling you. So Stephen Covey said it, seek first to understand and then be understood. So that's it for today. Overcome objections. Stop it. Understand what people are talking to you about. Start doing that. And don't worry about overcoming it. If you understand it and they understand that you understand, you'll have a stronger relationship and a possibility of building maybe not business today with that person, maybe in the future, or certainly maybe a referral. Till next week, see ya. Topics, tips, and blunders for salespeople, sales managers, and sales leaders.